a tech destination, what do you think Miami has on Silicon Valley right now?
Well, we have a lot of things. I think what we have is we're, first of all, number one in the nation in new tech jobs. We're number one in the nation in tech job migration in the last 2 quarters. We've done about over $1 billion of tech closings of venture capital deals in the last 8 weeks, which is about an annualized $6 billion, about a 200% increase pre-pandemic. So we have all the momentum. We've moved about $1.1 trillion worth of assets under management companies to the city of Miami in the last 16 months, created over 8,000 jobs at an average salary of over $120,000. And we have a significant runway for growth, which I think is missing in some cities in America. We can actually grow 10x in our physical landscape from what we are today. And so many cities, urban cities in America can't say that.
Miami, though, we pulled the numbers, still well behind San Francisco, New York, Boston, and many other metro areas in terms of venture capital funding. It's not even the biggest tech job creator in Florida. Actually, that's Jacksonville and Tampa Bay. How do you see Miami really changing the dominance of San Francisco?
Well, the figures that you just cited up there show a time from 2016 to 2020. And so I certainly would agree that those figures are accurate for that time frame. We're now heading into 2022, and the How Can I Help tweet was in December of 2020. And so that sort of watershed moment that you discussed at the beginning of the segment is really what's kicked off this new era in Miami and this, what I call this Miami tech movement. And so it's interesting that we continue to grow and continue to see that progress, and it's evidencing itself in our deal flow. It's evidencing itself in the number of jobs we're creating, and the fact that we're number one in growth for tech jobs. And so we feel very confident that we can keep this momentum going through Tech Month, which will be April of next year. We'll have the Bitcoin conference that came from LA. We're going to have the Founders Fund, Miami Tech Week, and Emerge, which is the largest tech conference in the southern part of the United States.
And we just had some 2021 numbers up on the screen. I'll give you more money is moving to Miami, but more money is moving to a lot of places right now. There have been reports of a kind of feud between the new tech folks coming to Miami and the existing tech community, as well as some of the Miami establishment, the traditional Miami establishment. How do you reconcile some of those groups?
I think that's natural. When you have new people coming to a city, there's going to be some issues like that. I've had a lot of conversations with what we call the Miami OGs, right? And I think that which was reported a few months ago has changed dramatically in the last few months. I think that integration, which we were looking for and hoping for, has sort of turned the corner, and we're starting to see a lot more collaboration between the older Miami tech and the new tech, which is helping to redefine our city.
You've proposed allowing the city of Miami to invest a portion of funds in Bitcoin, but right now cities aren't actually permitted to invest in crypto in the state of Florida. How much success are you having lobbying Tallahassee for rule changes here, and how much of a priority is this for you?
It's a major priority for me, because I want us to differentiate ourselves as a crypto capital of the United States or of the world. We've actually done three things. One is we're going for a request for proposal in October to allow our employees to get paid in Bitcoin, to allow our residents to pay for fees in Bitcoin, and even taxes potentially in Bitcoin if the county allows it. And then the third thing that you're talking about, which is the state allowing the city to hold Bitcoin on its balance sheet, which of course, if we would have been able to hold it from the moment that I put the resolution on our agenda, it'd be up by 30 or 40%. So I would have looked like a genius back then, but that's the way it works.
Now, Miami Coin is sort of a novel way for people to donate funds to the city. You've raised $7 million so far. I'm curious how you're thinking about pending regulation in crypto, what you'd like to see from the SEC, and if you're at all concerned about what could be coming from the SEC.
Well, first of all, what's great about Miami Coin is that it's a Bitcoin, based technology. It hashes to the Bitcoin blockchain through Stacks, which is the only sort of a smart contract blockchain that can hash the Bitcoin blockchain. So the protocol calls for 30% of the mining reward to go into a digital wallet for the city. And actually in 75, we haven't even gotten to 75 days. We're not even at the 75-day mark. And it's actually at $16 million. And so it's significantly more than even the last time that it was reported. So I think what we're seeing is a community of people that want to invest in Bitcoin through stocks and Miami coin, and want to do it in a way that supports our mission of creating, a Miami that's here for everyone.
You've got an election coming up on November 2nd, and of course, you're best known, at least across the country, for your efforts to bring crypto and tech to South Florida. But what about Miami residents who may be hurt by tech and crypto jobs coming, may be hurt by the migration, may be hurt by rising rents? Why should they vote for you?
Well, I don't think they're going to be hurt. Obviously, I think they're going to be helped. One of the things, as you mentioned at the beginning of your segment, that our economy was driven oftentimes by hospitality sector and by construction sector, two of which are oftentimes not as high paying jobs. And so part of what we want to do is we want to differentiate our economy, and we want to provide higher paying jobs and better opportunities for our residents so that they can have better outcomes and live better lives and be able to provide for their families and their children. So I think that's something that's actually going to inure to my benefit as a candidate, as the people of Miami realize that I have a vision that's not just for Miami today, but it's for Miami tomorrow. I was blessed 4 years ago to be elected by 86% of my residents, and I'm hopeful to get something similar this November in the next 3 weeks.
What's your current level of interest in pursuing a 2024 presidential run or getting on a vice presidential ticket?
What's my current interest? My current interest is today is finishing the next 3 weeks of my campaign successfully. If I do that, I'm going to be blessed by my colleagues at the U.S. Conference of Mayors to be the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, to be the president of an organization that is all the major cities in the United States beginning on January 3rd. And we're going to create an agenda for America in conjunction with America's mayors that we think will be something significant. Beyond that, which my term would end in mid-2023, only God knows.
Okay, so speaking of that campaign, New York Magazine has pointed out that a number of the most prominent Silicon Valley transplants to Miami were accused of wrongdoing and bad behavior in California, including Shervin Pishavar, who was accused by multiple women of sexual harassment in a report by Bloomberg, by myself. He donated to your Miami for Everyone PAC, according to a new filing with the Florida Division of Elections. And I'm curious if you're aware of this and if it's in line with your values.
Well, look, obviously, anything that is sexual harassment of any nature is not in line with my values and not in line with the people of the city of Miami. And my understanding is that those are allegations that were made against that particular individual that were not substantiated. And so, look, it's a difficult situation in the world that we live in because, we live in a world where allegations are made on a regular basis, and it's hard to draw the line between substantiated allegations and not substantiated allegations and decide, how you interact with people.
Well, they were substantiated by multiple women who I talked to. We'll send you the report.
Sure.
I do want to talk about your platform because you've positioned yourself. You're at odds with Governor DeSantis, I know, on a number of issues, including masks. If you were to run, let's say, in 2024, what would your platform be? Would you run on a crypto platform? How would you differentiate yourself from, say, a Ron DeSantis or even a Donald Trump?
Well, first of all, I haven't decided whether or not I will run in 2024. But what I have said and what I am consistently saying is I think the country is ready for a next generation candidate. That's something that I feel very passionate about. I think, that person is going to have to be someone who's a problem solver. I think that person is going to have to be someone with an innovation agenda, with an agenda that appeals to all of America and that, creates a country that we can be proud of and that will support people across the economic spectrum, whether they be, homeless, whether they be someone who's seeking to a better standard of living, and dealing with some difficult issues that we've struggled with as a society for generations to come, like income inequality. So I think that whoever the person is, they're going to have a very concrete vision about how to take America into the next generation and make us the most competitive country in the world.
So speaking of that vision, your police chief, Art Acevedo, I understand was just suspended today amid some fairly serious allegations. You did speak about that earlier today. Some of your critics say you seem to prefer to be out there talking about fun stuff like tech and crypto rather than taking on some of the hard, critical issues that every politician has to face. How do you respond to that?
Well, I'm talking about them right now with you. So, look, I respond to that by saying I'm always available and open to talk about issues. And certain situations require certain responses depending on the circumstances. And the situation with our chief is extremely delicate and unfortunate because he came in with very high expectations and someone who had a sort of very qualified record of achievement in multiple departments, and you always want it to work out. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out, and it's a situation that I think is best for all parties, including him and his family, for the city to go in another direction.
So take me 10 years out. Where do you see Miami vis-a-vis Silicon Valley in a decade, based on the changes you're making?
I think Miami could easily be one of the most globally significant cities. I think it can be what I call the capital of capital, a place where if you want to build a business, if you want to innovate, there is no better place on the planet because we're in the intersection of New York, South America, Silicon Valley, and Israel and the Middle East. And so I think we're strategically located and positioned very well for the future. We have a tremendous ability to grow. We're inviting innovators to come to our city, and that is paying dividends in terms of high-paying jobs that are being created. We've reduced poverty in the last 10 years by 50%. We used to be the 5th poorest city in America. Now we're 115th. And we have the lowest homeless rate since 2013. And we're going to be hopefully one of the cities in America that will put out a functional zero plan to get to zero homeless, which I think is a very, very noble endeavor and effort, and one that all cities should strive for.